The image on the left that you can see is me at 20. I was still a wannabe gangster. I was in juvenile detention just 2.5 years before that, but still I was not out of that mindset. And the worst part is that I had 7 scholarships in the medical school, which made my mind work against me even more because overconfidence is directly proportional to low self-esteem. The image on the right that you see is me working as a prison doctor. Imagine that story. I was in juvenile detention when I was 17, and in my mid-40s, I'm working as a prison doctor. Imagine that. And I'm also speaking at the juvenile detention center that I was at for joyriding. I understand that the story is good, but imagine yourself being in a place where you did not like, and all of a sudden you're doing something that you wished that you could do to help other people. You're overweight, now you're helping people get in shape. You were drinking, now you're sober. You were playing video games and addicted, now you're helping others. This is the mindset shift that will help you help yourself and then in turn, inspire others. If you're feeling like you're stuck, you have bad habits and you're falling behind, this video is for you. If I kept going the way I was going, I would have been dead or in jail like many people that I knew growing up here in Seattle. I would not be standing here today in the best shape of my life if it wasn't for one simple mindset shift. We're not talking about changing, we're not talking about developing habits, we're not talking about discipline. We're talking about one simple mindset shift and an investment in your health. If you feel like you're stuck, you have bad habits, and you just don't feel like you're going anywhere, this video is for you. These are 7 mindset shifts I wish I knew at 20. Number 1, your mind is not your enemy, but it'll feel like it is, especially depending on who you talk to on a regular basis. There was a 23-year-old patient that was telling me that I'm depressed, I feel suicidal, I don't feel like my life is going anywhere, I'm stuck, and this is just the way it's gonna be. She felt like she was a disappointment to her and her family for spending money on her for going to school and not finishing it. I know exactly what that feels like. At 20, my mind was completely broken, but I did have people around me who were elevating, and if it wasn't for them, I probably would have drowned. But still, even though I had 7 scholarships in the medical school at the time when I was 20, with the image on the left, I still was doubting myself. This doubt was clouded by overconfidence. I always like to say overconfidence is directly proportional to low self-esteem. If I can tell my 20-year-old self, just accept that you have low self-esteem and do something about it, I would have been in such a better place. Here's what no one tells you, is that your mind is not against you. It's just not trained. You haven't hygienically treated your mind yet. You need to practice simple mind hygiene techniques that will get you to a place where you don't feel like you're fighting against yourself. Instead, you're accepting your mind. The real solution is just to embrace and accept it. Do not try to fight your mind or overcome your thoughts or find ways to deal with things. A study from UCLA found that people who labeled their emotions, I feel anxious, triggered their brain's amygdala, which is the fear center, to calm down. Imagine that. I feel anxious actually calms you down. Why is that? Because you're no longer using it as a limitation in your mind. Thank you, anxiety, because I won't die when I'm driving and I'll stop at the red light instead of running it over. Imagine if my amygdala was gone and I was fearless. I would just run the stoplight, kind of like some animals do. They just don't have the same type of critical thinking as humans do. Use your anxiety to your advantage. Don't think that it's some big problem. Don't think that your intellect is against you. Nobody's trying to trick you. It's the people that you talk to, the things that you listen to, the story that you tell yourself that really matter. Your thoughts lose all power when you stop fighting them, but it's just not that simple. This isn't about fixing everything and making everything right away. This is like a workout program. You gotta gradually increase the way you approach your mind. Write down how you can accept yourself every 90 minutes for 1 to 90 seconds. That's a simple mind hygiene technique where you're hygienically treating your mind no matter what is happening. Number 2, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your habits. Now, I don't like the word habits, and I'll expand on this here shortly. There's a patient who was telling me that they were watching somebody in their 30s. They just skimmed through some of this content. They said, yeah, maybe one day. Like, no, now is the time. There is gonna be no tomorrow, next day, later. It just does not work like that. You gotta act now. You heard the word act. You gotta take actions. At 20, I had all the goals in the world. Luckily, I wasn't overweight at that time, but as time progressed, I started gaining a lot of weight, and you can see some of my before and after pictures where I was so overweight for most of my life. And that's because I just had bad systems in place. I would wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, eat some bad breakfast, go to college, smoke a cigarette, drink in the evening, and eat bad in the night and get full, and then go to sleep on a full stomach. Those were bad systems. I just did not have good systems in place. And what happened was my body failed me. To be honest with you, I don't regret anything I did. I just wish I was more intentional about it. As an example, now I like to say that I'm going to enter a mindless state if I feel like it. I'm not just mindless for the heck of it. I will enter a mindless state. I will purposely say, look, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna watch this show, and I'm gonna enter a mindless state. You don't need to do that, but this is what works for me because I live alone. I've lived alone almost all of my life, and I've had to put these tools in place for me to stay stable and to not have my mind be my worst enemy. Goals don't change your life, systems do. You don't suddenly become disciplined. You have to put the simple investments in place, or what other people call habits. I just don't like the word habit because it feels like something that I gotta do. Instead, let me make an investment in my future self so I don't feel bad, so I'm not overweight, so I don't think I'm stupid, I don't think I'm dumb. What am I gonna do about it right now? What action step can I take right now? The biggest action step that you can take is to stop your self-limiting beliefs. Like it's hard, it's difficult, it's too much, it's too stressful. If you have those self-limiting beliefs placed, imagine if you get everything that you want tomorrow. If you have all of these limitations, what's the use of it? The Duke University study on habit formation found that 40% of daily actions are not decisions, they're habits. If you're relying on motivation, you're losing. Nobody's gonna be there. Nobody's gonna come save you. You have to rely on yourself. Forget about goals briefly and try to see if you can put systems in place. As an example, if you desire to work out, make sure that you have your backpack ready to go before you even leave, with your headphones charged, with those nice shoes that you want to wear, and that gym outfit that you really like, that you feel good in. Before you even go, now you've already won. And the more you keep on doing it, the better you get at it. And you don't want to take risks. You want to write it down. Number 3, assume everybody's suffering, but less than 1% will actually inspire from it. People say that trauma is bad. Instead of saying that, it's a life experience that I have not inspired from, should be the conversation. There was a patient who was telling me that they're completely lost. At 23, have no clue what to do with their life. No purpose, no mission, and no vision. They felt like everyone is better than them, smarter than them, is working at warp speeds to get things done all the time. Do you ever feel like everybody's ahead of you, like you're falling behind, like you're the only one, playing victim, saying, why me? I did this too, until I realized that every single person that you look up to, the reason why you look up to them is because they've accepted and embraced who they are. They're not defined by their past. They don't just break down all the time and stay there. They do something about it. Meaning that if you have a life experience that you have not inspired from yet, you're gonna call it traumatic, bad, difficult, have all of these self-limiting beliefs that even if this life experience is gone, you feel great, you're still not gonna feel good. Because you have these limitations that your life is hard and you're saying, why me, and playing a victim. I was right there with you. I was doing this for most of my life until I realized that nobody's coming to save me. The people who win in life don't win because they are just granted a great life. I do agree that people may be given certain opportunities, like me. When I was in juvenile detention, I was given an opportunity to go to India. I succeeded. I took the opportunity. I hung out with the people that were elevating, studying, doing something more with their life, have a vision. Now I'm a board certified practicing family doctor for 26 years. And what I did was I did not take the things that happened to me and let it define me. Instead, I wrote it down, wrote it down, wrote it down. I went to therapy, such as EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, and gosh darn it, reprocess all the bad memories that I perceived as bad in my life, and now I'm able to inspire from it. Playing victim is one big waste of time. Nobody cares. Resilience research from the American Psychological Association shows that reframing stress as a challenge instead of a threat helps people recover faster and stay mentally strong. Struggles don't mean that you're failing. They mean you're growing. And instead of comparing yourself to others, say, how can I inspire from this perceived struggle? Here's the thing, is that when you do get to this peak level that you consider as peak, you're gonna have to work at it just to stay there. I always like to say this evidence-based process called mind hygiene that I've developed works probably about 80% of the time when you're operating at peak level. That means that you're gonna feel bad throughout times of the day. You are gonna say, is that person ahead of you? Should you be doing this? But you don't wanna talk to anybody, you don't wanna think about it, you want to write about it first. Number 4, at some point, escaping stops working. There was one patient who said to me, do you want to call your friend, your mom, or your drug dealer? Every escape, drinking, smoking, eating bad, scrolling, the path of least resistance works until it doesn't. That's what a bad habit is. A bad habit is something that you get short-term pleasure from that has long-term consequences. But once again, let's exchange this word for habit for investment. That's a rational emotive behavioral technique that has medical evidence to support it. At some point, it's just not fun anymore, even with the people that you're doing it with. When you cannot fix your thoughts, overcome your mind, and control your thoughts, you develop resentments. And when you develop resentments, you choose the path of least resistance. Drinking, smoking, chewing, chasing people that are doing. I did all of that. I was there right with you. Worst part about it is that I just didn't know I was doing it. If I could go back and talk to my 20-year-old self, I would say, look, bud, this is what you're doing. What do you think about this? In a compassionate and empathetic tone. That's where self-forgiveness, that's right, not forgiving others, forgiving yourself is one of the next big steps in releasing the equity in your mind, not having things rent space in your head for free, and utilizing the tools that your creator has given to you to be the best version of yourself. Distraction is expensive. It costs you your self-respect and your self-esteem. You want to know what you're doing or be mindful and not mindless. Every time you avoid something about yourself, you don't accept who you are, it will gain interest, and one day things are gonna explode. Trust me, if you see some of my before and after pictures, you can tell. A Harvard study found that avoidance-based coping, like drinking, social media, eating sugar, choosing the path of least resistance, not working out, not being healthy, leads to increased depression and anxiety over time, making the original problem much worse. You don't need to quit every distraction overnight. Matter of fact, I tell my patients this, you don't need to quit anything. Just accept what's going on. You can write down, I am not healthy. This is not a bad thing. This is where you are actually winning in life because you're finally accepting it. I want to be a healthy person. Write the 7 things that you need to do to become a healthy person, and then write that over and over again until it clicks. It could take 100 times. You're 42% more likely to achieve something if you write it down. It stimulates the left and the right brain to get it working properly. You don't want to be thinking or talking to people. Use mind hygiene techniques. If you never answer these questions, you'll wake up at 40 thinking how time was lost and what you did. Don't do that to yourself. You owe it to yourself to at least understand what's going on. Number 5, if you don't write your story, someone else will. There was a patient who was telling me people don't realize how much time they have in their 20s. The best advice is don't let the internet rush you. At 20, I was living my life. I was having fun, I was partying, I was studying, but I still did not know who I was, and I feel like I was still living life for somebody else. I wanted to please somebody else. I wanted external validation. I had no clue what it meant to believe in myself. I had overconfidence because I had a medical degree, but I was just out of juvenile detention a couple of years ago, and I was still wanting, what's up, dog? Hey man, you got 5 on the 20 sack? Like, I'm saying these things in school thinking that I'm cool. I never talked about being in juvenile detention until recently, and the reason why is because I'm at a place where I feel I can share it for people to inspire, to show them that even though you're in a place like this and you feel like you're wasting your life and you feel like you're wasting your time, you still might feel like that person if you don't accept and believe in yourself. Some of these things I wish I knew when I was younger. I'm not gonna change anything about my younger self. I don't wanna do that. It's because it's what made me today. But if I could talk to my younger self, these are some of the simple mindset shifts that I would tell him. If you don't take control, someone else will. Hey, you know what? You're good at this. Hey, you're bad at this. Oh no, don't do that, son. You don't want to hear these things. You need to write down what you're thinking. You need to write down your mission, vision, purpose. What was my mission in the image on the left? My mission was to drink, to drug, to be cool. My vision was so everybody liked me, and my purpose was to do everything that everybody else wanted. What is my mission today? My mission is to help young adults who are suffering from mental health problems believe in themselves every second through an evidence-based process that I've developed called mind hygiene that's proprietary. My vision is to guide everybody to self-compassion and self-empathy and emotional freedom. And the money that I make from this process, I want to donate to mental health foundations, to feeding the poor. Now that's a bigger vision. My mom, she was schizophrenic. She was institutionalized for 27 years with schizophrenia. My brother died about 6 years ago from meth and alcohol use. I've been sober. My dad suffered from narcissistic personality disorder. My mom died about 4 years ago. I want people to inspire from this. Now I have a different mission, vision, purpose. Number one thing is don't talk to anybody about your problems. You gotta write it down over 100 times before you even utter a word of it to anybody else. Studies in cognitive behavioral therapy show that when people take active control of their decisions, or what I like to say, accept their decisions, they experience lower anxiety and higher self-confidence. Taking ownership literally rewires your resilience. Forget what everybody else thinks. What do you want? And you gotta write it down on a regular basis. 1 to 90 seconds, every 90 minutes for the rest of your life. And when you get to that peak level, what I consider 60 to 80%, 80% is a good peak level to be at, especially when you live alone like me. That's a good peak level to be at. And if you can achieve that, remember, that's when your journey really begins. When you go to the gym, you lose all of that weight, that's when the journey begins. How are you gonna stay there? Number 6, hard reflections lead to an easy mind. Easy distractions lead to a hard life. There was a patient who was telling me, great one, great quote, if you focus on what you lack, you lose what you have. I have a camera and I get to use it. It's not like I'm tripping about the lighting, of course I am, but I have lighting and I get to inspire others. That's the type of rational emotive conversation that you want to have with yourself. It's also known as dialectical behavioral therapy. Most people don't struggle because life is hard. They struggle because they refuse to sit with their own mind and allow distractions to take over. Imagine you sitting at your computer at 10:23 a.m., 30 tabs open, 5 WhatsApp messages, Uber Eats, DoorDash, drinking coffee. Of course, it sounds confusing. What do you do instead then? One simple mindset shift. You write it down. How am I going to feel good in the next second? And then you shut everything down and operate in one tab at a time. I know it sounds like it's complicated, but if I can do it and it works for me and it works for countless other people, so can you. And you just have to define your own path with it. This video is to inspire you, not to give you advice. I'm just letting you know this is what I did and this is what you could do and this is what could be. You could either be a big problem at 45, or even if you suffered, if you did something you did not like when you were younger, don't resent that younger self and instead accept it, and now you can be here. A Stanford study found that self-reflection, when done consistently, reduces stress, improves focus, and improves long-term happiness, because you actually get to learn and know yourself instead of avoiding who you are. No one has ever built a strong mindset by running from themselves. If you're sitting with your thoughts and it makes you uncomfortable, that's exactly where you need to be. When I started telling myself that I have low self-esteem and low confidence and I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I wrote a book called The Dumb Doctor. You can read that if you want, it's on Amazon. When I started telling myself that I'm stupid, I'm dumb, that's what I believed. But when I said, why is it that I think that I'm like this? Instead of trying to say that I'm smart, I'm good, which is not a bad thing, I don't mind the affirmations, but I wanna know why. And I just kept on writing. At the end of the day, it had to be forgiving myself for some of the things that I did to other people. And that's when I really started accepting who I am, empathizing, and legitimately forgiving myself. And then in turn, I was able to forgive others, and it was not hard. Number 7, wherever you go, your thoughts will follow you. At 20, I thought moving cities, changing friend groups, getting a new girlfriend, whatever the case was, things would get better. Wrong, zilch, nada, zero in any language you could think about. Don't try to escape anything. You want to be able to accept and embrace whatever process it is, understand it, soften it, don't make it seem like it's hard, because in the future, things will be even worse. If you cannot validate yourself internally and believe in yourself right now, there's no situation that will allow you to do that then. You need to be able to believe in yourself. A study from Stanford University on cognitive therapy shows that location change only offers short-term relief. Long-term peace comes from investing, or what people call changing, your thought patterns. If you don't rewire, rewrite, unpack, or create a new reality, you're gonna live the same way for the rest of your life. You don't need to move to a new city. You just need to figure out tools that work for you, that don't compromise your beliefs, where you can feel better about yourself every second. I've traveled all over the world, mostly alone. I've lived alone most of my life. And these are some of the things that have worked for me, and I hope that they inspire you. If you want to be unshakable, unbreakable, irreplaceable, you want to inspire others, this is the time right now for you to act. You don't need to follow my process. Think about me as your new workout program. It may take some time. You don't want to think that this is gonna be overnight, and you don't want it overnight. It could take years. But if you don't start right now, you don't want to be suffering later with a heart attack, a stroke, kidney disease, heart attacks, whatever the case is. You don't need that in your life. If this video resonated with you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll be dropping videos every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on how to live brilliantly, on how to believe in yourself, and other tools that will help you feel better every second through an evidence-based process that I've developed called Mind Hygiene. Namaste.